Hello. In this video I'm going to quickly demonstrate the Carousel script from the Galerie script collection for the Unity game engine. I'll go ahead and drag and drop the carousel right onto the main camera, and if I select the camera in the inspector view I get all of the settings for the script. The first thing you'll want to do is set the object count. Set this to however many objects you have for your gallery. If I set it to 5, you can see 5 slots are created for the gallery. I'm going to want 8. Then just drag and drop your prefabs right into the slots. Make sure that you fill each slot or you're going to get an error message. I'll leave the last one blank to demonstrate. If I hit play, you can see I get an error message saying transform not found. Please make sure each transform input field has a transform applied, and nothing happens in the game view. So it's basically telling me, hey buddy, you missed one. So I'll go ahead and drag that last one in there. Now when I hit play, I get a nice looking gallery. I can use the left or right arrow keys to cycle through the characters, and you can see this character actually has animation applied. You can use animated characters or particle effects. Whatever you can turn into a prefab with a transform, you can use with the script. You can also use the up and down arrow keys, which I will explain later. The start position determines where the carousel will be placed in the scene. You can adjust the X, Y, or Z. This allows you to set it up with however you have your scene set up. I'm just going to zero it out. The radius will determine the separation between the objects. You can adjust that to your liking. Now the auto rotate will automatically rotate the carousel, and I'm going to drop the carousel speed down to 1 first and then click the auto rotate. Now you can see the carousel is automatically rotating. If I set the carousel to a negative speed, it will rotate in the opposite direction. I'm going to deselect that and set the speed back to 5. I've found that a lower number usually works better with auto rotate, and like 5 works pretty good if you have it set to work with the keys. I'll come back to the object rotation speed here. First I'll talk about the tilt axis and tilt angle. So if I adjust the tilt angle, you can see the whole carousel pivots on that first object. So this allows us to, for instance, set the carousel to -90, and now when I click left or right, you got a vertical carousel, and the objects will rotate in from the sides. If you change the tilt axis, by default it's set to YX. If I change it to YZ, it will now work horizontally. You can set it to any angle. I'll go ahead and set it to -90 again. And now you got some characters in the background, and if I rotate through, they'll drop in from the top or come up from the bottom. So this is where having it mapped to the up and down arrow keys comes in handy. It's a little more intuitive if you have your carousel set up vertically like this. Now back to the object rotation. I'll set this back to 0. And the object rotation speed will allow the objects to rotate independently. So each object is rotating within the carousel. And I can cycle through them. And this is why it's important to have your pivot set to a good spot if you want to add rotation like this in the Galerie script. You can also set this to a negative value and it will rotate in the opposite direction. So that wraps it up for the carousel script. Next, I'll demonstrate the film strip.